to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to the ball. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Wednesday, July the 23rd. I'm your host, Michael Leva. Hey, look who's with me. Pointing the wrong way. Look who's with me today. Big E, Ian Berger's joining us on the show. Ian, I would say how you doing, but I think we all know. But I'm going to ask anyways, how you doing? You hanging in there?
I'm hanging in there. Definitely it's becoming more tired as the days go on, but don't even start any potential treatments for probably another 2 weeks. So I wanted to jump on, man. I saw Tom posted a tweet today. He forgot I was a member of the DolphinsTalk.com
He is so
podcast.
in the doghouse right now. You have no idea how much Tom is never going to live this down.
I know.
He's paying for breakfast at the airport. I'm going to make him do some other chores as well.
I love how you told him that you take back the money that you pay him, and I said it's 2 pennies because we all know this is all for love of what we do. Yeah, it's a passion project for all of us. But I'm doing okay, man. Besides the exhaustion, besides the mental roller coaster, I'm trying to keep a smile on my face and keep a positive outlook and attitude because what's the other alternative?
Got no other alternative. It's it.
I can sit home and be sad and think about boohoo and and I know other people go through the exact same thing that I have and cancer and stuff like that. And they make it and they're able to ring that bell. And that's my goal. I've seen all the people at the DCC that are walking and living and, they've overcome such great adversity and I'm hoping to be one of those people too. So, but I'm happy to be here tonight, my friend.
Yeah. I'm happy you reached out to me that you wanted to be on tonight because folks, training camp has started. We actually have real football to talk. Well, not real football, but we have something to talk about with the Miami Dolphins as they had their first practice today. We got some news. Unfortunately, we got some injuries, and we got a lot to talk about. So let's get right to it. But before we get to that, we got to take care of some business first. First off, if you're watching this on YouTube, do us a favor. Smash that like button right now. Hit the subscribe button, but really smash that like button right now, top of the show. Get it out of the way. Boom, got it done. Okay, other thing. This show is brought to you by Caneswear. That's right. Caneswear.com is the website to go for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. They have stuff for the Dolphins. They have stuff for the Miami Heat, the Miami Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, and your Stanley Cup champion. Yes, your Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers and the Miami Marlins. If you want a hat, a hoodie, a jersey, sweatshirt, sweatpants, short, something for the home, something for the office, Caneswear.com is the website to go. If you're in South Florida, stop by their shop at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida, Caneswear.com. Also, if you haven't signed up yet for Dolphins Talk Extra, do that, patreon.com/Dolphins Talk, $3 a month, contest, cool prizes, a lot of extra shows with myself, Josh, and Aaron. It's a lot of fun. Private message board as well, Dolphins Talk Extra. And last thing, if you haven't listened to it yet, this afternoon we dropped another interview with Marissa Marino. She interviewed Ari Merov, the NFL insider. I think I just said his last name wrong. She spoke to Ari. A ton of great insights, some stories that some fans of the Dolphins might not have heard before. Check that out with Marissa here on the DolphinsTalk.com.
I just got to give some love to Marissa too, Mike, by the way. She's done it phenomenal with getting some amazing guests and getting some different perspectives from the national media. And also, I know she's had some players as well. And she's hitting it out of the park. I think she took some time off in between the end of the season to start of the season, but I think she took that time off and she was just writing down a list of people she wanted on the show, and she made it a point to get them. And I just love seeing her be successful, and she's definitely a great member of our DolphinsTalk.com podcast team.
She is. She's a great member, and let me tell you, and I will tell our listeners without giving away any names, stay tuned. Like the next 2 to 3 weeks, the names we have who will be on our podcast going to blow your socks off. So just stay tuned. There are many, many more to come. And on some of those days, yes, there's going to be news like this. We're going to be having shows, but also there's going to be an interview. I don't want to say every day, but most days with some great guests that you're going to like to hear from as we get ready for the 2025 Miami Dolphins season, which is underway here. And Ian, training camp started yesterday on Tuesday, and then today we had the first practice. Let's go over some news, share some thoughts. On Tuesday, they put some guys on PUP. Nothing one's a surprise, one's not. Let's start with Waller, the tight end. He was retired last year. Mike McDaniel spoke today, said he's fine. It's just when you go from not playing for a year to now you're on a team, we're going to take it slow so we don't throw you to the wolves. But he's healthy. He should be ready soon. And this is one case where I think they're being honest about that. I don't think he's hurt or they're hiding anything. So I think he'll be fine. Waller, now how much will he play this year? How much will he contribute? Whole other story. But I wouldn't be concerned with him on PUP. And if anyone thought Miami was going to sign Noah Fant, they're not. He just signed with the Eagles about 10 minutes ago.
I agree with you. You know, the guy's been out of football, even though he stayed in really great shape from what we could see from all the videos that he put out about himself, but he's got to get into football shape. You know, the thing is too, is I don't have a lot of high expectations for him, especially being out of football for a year. So I think anything that he does do, I think will be a great addition for the team. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Is he going to be catching 500 yards in the season and get a couple of touchdowns? That would be great. But I don't know. You know, again, he's on the wrong side of 30, right? Is he 31, 32?
You know what? I think he might have just turned 30.
Yeah.
Let's check fire up the old Google machine. He is 32 actually right now.
Yeah.
Did he just turn 32? No, he's going to turn 33 on September 13th. Yeah, I don't think he's going to start. If he makes the team, which is an if he makes the team,
True.
I think he's your number 2 or 3 tight end. I think someone, and I know fans don't like it, like Hill is going to start, and you're going to use Waller on passing downs because that's where he excels.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, keep expectations in check. But if his head's in it, if he wants to play, if he's healthy, which sounds like he is, and he's in shape, you know, if he gives you 10 snaps a game, he catches 1 or 2 passes a game, he scores, 4 touchdowns over the course of the year for a 6th-round pick, that's fine. That's a fair trade. And, yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, for sure.
In other news, okay, now, folks, here.
I can talk about
professionals. Liam Eichenberg's on the PUP list, and Mike McDaniel said today, we're talking weeks here. This is going to go a while. It's not season ending. And here's the deal. We've all had our fun at the expense of poor Liam. And we know when he was re-signed, not a lot of fans of Dolphins were happy. Some were. Most weren't. It's unfortunate. I mean, you never want to see anybody get hurt at the end of the day. But he's not going to be around. So they did sign another lineman on, Wednesday, Tuesday, in Daniel Brunskill. And again, I know some fans of Dolphins are pumping this guy up like he's a second coming of Dwight Stevenson. Pump the brakes here. He was unsigned in late July for a reason. But he's here. He has a wealth of experience. Is he any good? We'll see, I guess. But Eichenberg's hurt. Let's not, celebrate this. Let's have a little class. We don't live in Buffalo, folks. Okay, we're Miami fans.
And the thing with the signing of Daniel Brunskill is that there's some similarities to Liam as far as he's very versatile. Yeah, he's very versatile. He's very flexible. He can cover a couple of different positions. So obviously they brought him in knowing that Liam's going to be out for a short while. And, Mike McDaniel wouldn't even give any sort of indication on if he's going to be ready at the beginning of the season, if he's going to be ready by the middle of the season. So it could be one of those things. He's questionable leading into almost every game. Right. And then actually they'll probably put him on IR to start the season. I would imagine if he's not ready, if he's not practicing in training camp, they're probably going to start him on IR and then just see what he's doing after that. But I wish him well. I hope he gets better. You never want to see another human not doing well. But it's going to be interesting to see what the offensive line will look like without him as a rotational player. I do think it'll probably be better. But still, we'll see.
And here I would say is the one positive news that wasn't spoken about yesterday. Who wasn't on PUP? James Daniels, healthy, ready to go. So
Nice.
that's very positive there. That he didn't start camp on PUP, and he seems, and I know he was out there today, which I have some notes on. So he's out there, and that's very good news that he is back from his Achilles injury. Fedi Malafanu, non-football injury list, not serious, Mike McDaniel said. So I think he'll be back soon. I mean, he's just a guy. Look, here's the deal. Anytime you see his name on a list, you just go, oh, because he's had so many injuries over the course of his career since he joined the NFL. You just don't want to see it. But it sounds like it's not serious, nothing major. And again, it is July. Nobody should worry. If he's on this list in a month, then talk to me. I don't think it's going to last that long, though. It sounds like this might just be a few days. Otherwise, they probably would have put him on PUP, honestly. So this might just be like maybe by Monday he's back or something. Who knows? It doesn't sound serious. The bad news on today, practice, Artie Burns appears to have blown his ACL out for the year. I don't know how much he was going to play at cornerback anyways. I know last year for Seattle, he was primarily someone on special teams. So I know, look, it sucks anytime you lose somebody. And if he was going to help if he was going to help elsewhere, that sucks. But I don't know if it really hurts the secondary because I don't think he was going to play much at corner. But anytime you lose a guy, the first day of camp, it sounds like it was the first 5 minutes of camp, and like they barely got done with stretching, and he hurt his ACL.
And you're sitting there, and we got all the Dolphins fans that are saying, listen, out of anything in this, first day of training camp on the field, no injuries, everybody end the day healthy. And I know we're going to talk about the other injury that occurred as well. But, to your point, it's a thin position. I think everybody knows that the cornerback room is a very thin room, a lot of inexperience. You lose Jalen Ramsey, and that leaves obviously a huge hole in the cornerback spot. So you were hoping to get some of that veteran leadership with Artie being there, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. And I saw some people there were saying we gotta do something with those Indian burial grounds because
it's not that.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was an older guy, and I don't know how much was actually left in the tank, but obviously now we're not going to find out with the injury, unfortunately. So Artie Burns. The other injury, which sounds more serious, was Bayron Mato. So we had on our podcast like 2 weeks ago with Marissa. It's all smiles telling his story, which is an amazing story. And if you have a chance to listen, find the podcast from a few weeks ago with Matos. He was airlifted off the field today at the end of practice. I guess it happened like in the last 5 minutes or so of this training camp practice. No word on what it was, but but they did say he is in stable condition. So props there. But Matos, again, long shot to make this team, honestly, but never want to see a guy get airlifted off the field for crying out loud. That's horrible.
Especially knowing that there is a medical facility right there at the field. Like they just built it like within the last 2 or 3 years. So it was clearly serious. And for him to get airlifted to a trauma center probably is where he ended up going. And but obviously positive to hear that he's doing well. All the guys in that field, you see some of those, someone get injured like that and get airlift. You can't continue practice after that. It's you gotta take a knee, pray for the man to get better, and call it a day. And then tomorrow, just be a little bit more careful if you can. I was talking. I talk to my dad all the time about football. He's like, what are these guys doing? And aren't they prepared for? I'm like, you can't prepare for a freak hit. You can't prepare for a freak legs getting tangled up and something happened. And it doesn't matter what the weather is. It's just a freak accident that happens, or you turn a certain way and the other player turns another way, and something happens. You don't want to see it to happen to anybody, but of course too, you don't want to see it happen to your guys wearing your color. So prayers to him, and I'm glad that he's doing well. I'm glad that he's doing better.
Yeah. Media sessions we've had all this week as well, and it's honestly a lot of nothing. It's just a lot of when Mike McDaniel talk. It's a lot of the same stuff you've heard over the years. He's just being a coach. It's fine. The two people who spoke, though, that we have to talk about is Tyreek Hill and Tua. And the Hill one just is a level-headed. I know we're fans of the team, and I understand you want to root for the players on your team, and we do. But, what do I always say? Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I mean, what Tyreek Hill said at his media session, really, not even as a fan, just as a human being, it kind of makes your stomach turn. I mean, he says, he's put his entire offseason into just football. The guy was, he was throwing laptops at his wife in a condo. What's he talking about? Don't insult my intelligence. He's saying he's the most focused he's ever been. There's also a guy who took the child away from his wife and wouldn't let her see her for like a month or two. It just blows your mind. He says this stuff with a straight face. It absolutely blows your mind. And he says, I haven't lost a step. I'm flying through the conditioning test. Good, we're paying you $50 million. You should. I mean, look, I know it's his last year here. I'm not going to go nuts about this stuff every week because he will drive you nuts. But anyone who takes anything this guy says seriously needs their head examined. He is a malcontent of the highest order, and it's tough to take. And I give credit to our quarterback. What he said today and talking about when he'll quit versus the Jets and goes, I'm out, and just walked off the field. Tua said, when you say something like that, you don't just come back with my bad. You got to work that relationship up. He's working on himself. Good for Tua for saying the obvious and not just buying into the Tyreek Hill bullshit, which is really what it is at this point.
And I think the Back It Up Binge podcast said it best. Tyreek is all talk at this point. Prove it.
Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
The fact is that he says all the right things. He's saying all the right things, and the players are coached to make sure that they say the right thing at a podium behind a microphone. But it's really important to go ahead. My wife made the basket. Nice job.
Nice shot.
I lied. It just made it look good for TV. No, but the fact is that they're coached to say the right thing. He's making a lot of money. This is, possibly his last season with the Miami Dolphins, and he might be able to get another large payday if he puts together a nice season. And he talks about wanting to get another 2,000 yards. But he also, addressed the elephant in the room, which is how he left the end of last season. Talk is talk. I want to see him on the field. I want to see the Tyreek from 2 seasons ago, except I want him to hold on to the ball against the Kansas City Chiefs when they're trying to rip it out of his hands, things like that. And catching the ball when you're in the end zone, and what was it, against the Ravens, I think. And, you just can't put your hands around it. So I want him to catch all of his balls, which I know is not necessarily possible, but I want to see it on the field. That's it. And I don't want to see on any of this other stuff on the outside. I just want to see on the field, what do you got? Let that do the talking. And then you don't need to be talking on the microphone and saying what your intentions are and things like that.
Yeah, here's my take on this. And don't get caught up on the swear words I'm about to say. Here's how I view Hill at this point. And these are not swear words. They are sentence enhancers, I call them. He's an asshole, but he's our asshole. So every Sunday when he's on the field, I'll be sitting there rooting for him. But if Mike McDaniel and this team, this franchise, even the players too, make this guy a captain this year, this season's over before it starts. You cannot make this guy a captain. You cannot make this guy a captain. It is such bad optics. And we will be the laughing stock of the league. If you make a guy who walked off the field week 18, no excuses for him. He walked off the field, said, I'm done. I don't care that they're automatically out of the playoffs anyways at that point. No. You're getting paid all this money. Finish the game. If they make this guy a captain this year after that, and after what he said today, Tua, it makes your quarterback look weak, and it makes your organization look dumb. And we're just, would be a colossal mistake that will, because, folks, let's just be honest. If we start off 1-4, 2-6, he's going to have a blow up. We know it's coming. So do not make him a captain. Do not make him a captain. That's all I'm going to say. I
agree. I don't think he deserves that. And I don't care how fast he runs. I
don't care what he does.
Your actions speak volumes. And by doing that, it's going to take time. If he has a great season and he's able to keep his, keep some of his behavior, I guess, somewhat normal, right, on and off the field, and he's with us next year, maybe consider it, right? But I think he's got to be able to prove it this season that he means what he says. But here's the problem with Tyreek, and I think we all know it. He's a jokester. He loves doing stuff on social media. Yeah,
it's not funny anymore. It's the point.
He loves doing stuff on social media. Which I'm not going to say NFL players cannot and should not be on social media. But it's kind of, you start questioning, like, what's important, right? What's important on the field, or, making somebody laugh or, getting some views on some clips or, whatever it is. The views on clips is really for us. The action on the field and showing that you're, still quick, you can still catch the ball and you can still remain focused for a full entire game and an entire season. That's a true football player. He's still going to, here's the thing too, Mike.
I know
he's still going to make the Hall of Fame. You know that, right?
Oh,
he's
should
going
make
to make the Hall of Fame.
Those two things are very separate. He should make the Hall of Fame because that it counts for what you do on the field. He's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. I don't know what Randy Moss is thinking or saying. I have no idea what's going. Tyreek Hill's a Hall of Fame player. He should make the Hall of Fame. Nothing he does, quote unquote, off the field as of yet should prevent him from not being in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying that. He's a Hall of Fame player by far. But I'm just saying, at this point, after everything he's done, everything he's been through, like the jokes, it's like in 2025, you want to hear a joke from, I don't know, who's a comedian who's been totally disgraced? Do you want to hear a joke from
what's his face?
What's his name with the soda cans there?
The guy who
with the pudding pops.
Andrew Dice Clay. Andrew Dice Clay, remember? No?
What's his name? Whoever. You don't want to hear a joke from someone who's in like a bunch of hot water.
Okay. Andrew Dice Clay was in a lot of hot water a couple years ago. He's kind of coming back though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I mean, so it's just like, look, just play. Nobody wants your jokes on social media. No one wants to hear about you're going to go be a porn star. Bill Cosby. That's what I was saying.
There it is. Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
All you had to do is say Jello, and I would have gotten that one.
Because he does the pudding pops too. I thought.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
true. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, nobody wants to hear a joke from Bill Cosby. Just like no one wants to hear any more jokes from Tyreek Hill. Okay, practice today. Folks, here's the deal. Every year, Ian, we say this every year. I read these notes. People get way too happy. Some get way too upset. This was day one. It's July 23rd. There's no pads. Do not read anything into. I'm just sharing what took place on the field. This is what actually happened. There's no agendas. Don't get mad. We have no control over this. I'm just
Eric Ezekama, baby, number one wide receiver.
I don't even have his notes down here, but okay, yes. He had a good day today. So here's the deal. They started inside and then they moved outside. Alexander Masson had one very good run on the day. Chubb was wearing a brace on his right knee, and he almost had a sack on one play, but Austin Jackson held him, and he was called for the penalty. Jalen Waddle caught a 20-yard pass from Tua. Zach Sealer, another big topic here. He showed up, and he did participate in some drills, which was a question because he's looking for more money, and he wants a new contract, and it sounds like Miami's not going to give it to him. But this was just day one. Let's see what he's doing a week from now when they're in pads, 2 weeks from now when they're practicing with the Lions and Bears. Is he participating then? I venture to think no. But today, first day, he went through the motions and he did the practice. So kudos to Zach Sealer. Tua hit Alec Ingold on a short pass, which he turned upfield for about 20 yards. Willie Gay, the new linebacker, got to Achane in the backfield. It would have been a tackle for loss, but once again, no tackling today. Achane hit a nice 20-yard run. Mohamed Kamara jumped off sides. Patrick Paul supposedly had a pretty good day. Left tackle again, but there's no pad. Take it with a grain of salt. Yep. Tanner Connor had a nice catch and run for 20 yards, but he fumbled, and Cam Smith picked it up and ran it back about 20 yards.
Cam Smith sighting.
Yeah, he picked up a fumble. Quinn Ewers had a very pretty 20-yard completion to Andrew Armstrong. Jalen Phillips and Chop Robinson both had pressure today on Tua. Zach Wilson hit Eric Ezekama on a nice pass. James Daniel participated in a portion of the team drills before he went off onto the side to do conditioning work. And in the team drills, he was called for a false start on 2 consecutive plays. Tua hit Malik Washington on a 10-yard pass. Quinn Ewers hit Hayden Rucci for about 20 yards in 7-on-7 drills. And that's just day one. Everyone don't freak out. It's day one. And we'll see what happens here moving forward. Again, aside from the injuries, pretty much a ho-hum start here to Miami Dolphins training camp.
Day 2 tomorrow, and hopefully everybody stays healthy. Well,
technically the third day, second practice, but yes.
Second outdoor practice, right? Third day, and then Friday they have off usually, right?
And then Saturday it's open to the public, right?
I'm going to try and go, actually.
I hope you can, Ian. I hope you can. See. And I saw they added, 7 new fans up top, so the fans can help stay a little cooler.
Yes.
Yeah, help everyone stay a little cooler. So that's nice because I know it gets piping hot down there. That's why I won't go down there for camp. It's just too hot. I'm not going to go down there for a 2.5 hour thing and sweat my balls off type of deal. I'd rather go down there for games than for camp.
And then sweat your balls off at the games. Yeah, I get it. But
Well,
the other thing too is they're making
yes.
practices earlier this year, so it's
they are
definitely less hot because you're not there for the heat of the day, which is nice. But I think I read today where Coach McDaniel said after some joint practices with another team, they're going to consider pushing practices back a little bit later in the day. I mean, the Dolphins do need to get themselves conditioned for a 1 o'clock time slot, right? Because that's
well, they have to get themselves like how Mike McDaniel has handled camp, and we've talked about this a ton in years past. Since he's been here, doesn't work. It doesn't he doesn't work the guys hard enough. Everyone gets too many rest days. Like you actually have to work. So you have to ramp up to week 1. You can't like coast into week 1 because when you just sort of take it easy, week 1, it looks like these guys have never been on the field together. Spoiler alert, because they haven't been. So you have to practice them. You have to ramp it up as you get to mid-August, late August. So they're on the field more together. So hopefully he's changing his approach. We'll see, I guess. But I like to hear that because status quo hasn't been working for Mike McDaniel in this training camp stuff.
I'm going to be interested to see how he reacts to, players committing penalties and, players just whatever. Because, the stories were last season that there were some players that were showing up late to meetings and coaches weren't doing anything to that. And
I think all but one are gone though.
Yeah. And that's a possibility as well. And, there was some really good conversation I heard on the Joe Rose show the other day with Dave Hyde, and they were talking about what's his face, quarterback Jalen Ramsey. And they were like, Jalen Ramsey got paid extra money because they saw the value, they saw the talent that he had, but he just wouldn't buy into the program. He said, so they have ultimately tried to move players that were not buying into the program 100%. And I think we've gotten to the point now with this roster that you should have almost at least 95% of the players buying in because you've selected everybody. You've seen the different attitudes. You've seen the different behaviors and mindsets, and you're really trying to find your guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out.
I think, and I'm not going to name the names. I think most people know a couple of them. With the exception of one guy who's still here who was a problem last year. Everyone else is gone. They're no longer here. So that's good. The problem that they're going to run into, though, and this is so Dolphins, for Aaron and Josh, same old Dolphins, the Zach Sealer thing should not be taking place. Like, you have to reward the people who do things right. Yep. And I understand they've been burned in the past, but they haven't been burned by this guy ever.
No,
and all
never.
This guy does is show up, shut up, and play hard each week and produce on the field. If you're not going to reward him, then I don't know who you do reward at this point. And I know he's about to get to that age where you don't want to, where you have to be careful with how you pay those.
You don't want to overdo
it. At a certain age. Yeah. You don't want to overdo it, but there's got to be a happy medium. There's got to be a way to work it out. And I don't know. It's just that one's gonna sting a little bit. If they let that get out of control. If they're in Chicago, if they're up with the Lions joint practice, and he's just on the side watching, well, sorry. And if we get to late August and he's still not participating, I don't necessarily blame him, but that's just a bad look. And this has been a franchise that's had a lot of bad looks in recent years, and you want to move past it at some point. But as we always say, self-inflicted wounds. These are self-inflicted things.
Yeah, no, you're right. And, if I remember correctly, too, when we first got Zach, we got him at a discount based on the
we got him off the waiver. No, we took him off the Ravens practice squad. Exactly.
So when we first signed him, he was signed on the cheap. And then they were all of a sudden like, oh, this guy can play. Putting him next to Christian Wilkins was like, oh, this guy is great. But then they took Christian Wilkins out of the equation, and Zach Sealer is still producing, and he's still great. So, for those people that said Zach Sealer was great because he was standing next to Christian Wilkins, well, Zach proved them wrong last season, and he should be paid. And, you see this around the league where players who were drafted by their teams, they're getting rewarded. And it just hurts when you see some of these guys that are good contributors, that are really good contributors, that were originally drafted by the Dolphins, and they just can't seem to make it work financially. And Andrew Van Ginkel is going to be the thorn in my side for a very long time just going from, not even getting an offer by the Miami Dolphins to stay to being one of the top 100 players in the NFL, voted by the other players in the NFL. I think he was he in the 70s or 80s for his position. Unbelievable. And the guy got paid by the Vikings. I mean, he looks like a damn Viking. He belongs on the Vikings team, and he deserves the money that he got. So,
and they're about to have another child.
Exactly.
Tim and his wife are about to have another child. So congratulations to them. And it's not just him. There have been too many players over the years where we've drafted and we send them to the curb while we're out there chasing the shiny objects of Hill and Ramsey and Chubb and Armstead, which there's nothing wrong with adding a few of those guys, but not at the expense of losing so many homegrown guys. There's a happy medium. And the thing with Andrew Van Ginkel, when he had that foot injury, the Liz Frank, Chris Greer has a policy, which I was told by multiple people, that injury scares him. He doesn't want to pay anybody real money who has that injury. That's why he never got an offer, because Chris Greer's like, bad injury, don't want you around. It's going to happen again. Well, clearly he was wrong. So that's what we got there.
Kind of like we don't take guys that had arm surgery when Drew Brees was available, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole different medical staff, but yes.
I know.
That was a whole different medical staff. Yeah. Okay. Before we get to the rest of the show, shout out to everyone at finheaven.com. Everyone, check out finheaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, everyone, shout out to the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, run by the great, talented Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, check out I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. And also, wherever you listen, whether it's Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Audible, subscribe. All right, Ian. So here's the deal. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, and I don't know when you're going to be on next. So, and I know you probably won't be able to make it to our annual preseason roundtable. If you can, great. But I don't know. So with Josh, Aaron, myself, Tom, I'm going to ask you some simple questions. I know it's early. It's only July, but I don't know when you're going to be on again. So let's get some stuff out prior to the year.
Okay.
Let's have some fun. Who leads the Miami Dolphins this year in sacks? Sealer, Chop, Chubb, or Phillips?
I think Chop Robinson. I feel like he was coming on real good last season. I think he's going to kill it.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. I will say this. Jalen Phillips, if healthy, playing for a big money contract, watch out this year. If he's healthy, of course. If he's healthy. Yep. Over, under on yards for Jalen Waddle, 1,000. It's a lot.
That is a lot. I'm going to say just a little over, just like 1,050, but I think he's going to make it.
Okay. This is a fun one. Will Cam Smith be a starting cornerback for more than 12 games this season? Mind you, we have nobody. And even if we add somebody, it's not like we're going to be adding Patrick Surtain here. So Cam Smith start 12 games at corner this year for the Dolphins.
So I'm going to say yes, because the Dolphins are going to have no other choice.
I tend to agree with you. Will Tyreek Hill be with the Miami Dolphins come week 18 this season? Or will there A, be an explosion like we spoke about, or B, will he be moved at the trade deadline? Will he be on the team week 18?
I think he'll be on the team week 18. Yeah, I think he's in it for this season.
All right. I want an honest answer here. I don't want your heart. How many games will Tua play this year?
Am I getting an over and under, or I just need to
I'll give you over, under 12.5.
Over.
Over, under 14.5.
Push.
It's a half. You can't.
My heart says 17, obviously. I want to see, because really, honestly, you get him all 17 games, and I think the Dolphins are making it to the playoffs. I honestly believe that, because that's what we saw 2 years ago when he was on, he was kicking on all cylinders, and he was accurate as he normally is. And he wasn't making silly decisions about running around and getting popped for one reason or another. But I'll say 15, just because.
No, that's fair. Look, if he plays 15, I'm happy.
We're going to the playoffs. I think we're going to the playoffs. If he plays 15.
17 games for him might be unrealistic because of everything that we know of him. If he gives me 15, I'm cool with that. Like, in this world we live in, 2025, 17-game season, if we get 15 games out of him, fine. I am A-okay. As long as he's not missing games for a head injury, I'm cool with that. And, it's not ideal, obviously, because you want him for every game. But if you ask me today, July 23rd, I'd sign up for 15 games from Tua. I think we'd be okay this year. Over
I like Ron, by the way. He's got
20.
he's got Tua going to the Super Bowl. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it should be 20 games and a parade.
Yes.
Over under yards, all-purpose yards for Achane, 1,500. Spoiler, I think he was at $14.99 last year or something like that.
It was $14.99. I heard.
Was
I heard. Who was it? It was what is it about? Omar Kelly. Omar Kelly mentioned it. $14.99. It's going to be over, I think.
Okay. Over under yards for Tyreek Hill, 1,600.
I'm going to say
it should be over if he says what he says, it should be over.
But again, to what everybody was saying too, it's all talk until he proves it. So I'm going to say under. But if he's available in the top 12 on my fantasy football team, I'm still picking him up in the top 12.
How many interceptions for Mika Fitzpatrick? Over under 2.5?
Ooh, over. Yeah, I like that. I think he's a good pickup.
Yep. Okay.
I have officially forgiven him, by the way. Officially.
I'm good for good, Ian. You know what? You got to make amends sometimes.
Exactly.
Here's a fun one. Over now, it's only fun because he stinks at it. Over under on challenges won this year by Mike McDaniel, 1.5.
I'm going to say over because I think he has learned from his mistakes.
Really?
It's finally going to happen this year. And you know what? When it gets to that second challenge one, I will text you and I will say, told you. I told you.
Here's a fun one. Rookie, you're most looking forward to seeing this year.
It's interesting because I really am interested to see Savanea in action. But I'm going to go Grant, and
I'm with you on Grant.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how what he did in college translates to the NFL, and he's got such a big I'm excited to see what he's able to do.
Yeah, I am also on Grant too because I think he's the most important pick. I know everyone wants to fix the offensive line. Great, which it needs to be fixed. But Grant is coming in following some big shoes to fill.
Yes.
And Wilkins and Calais Campbell.
Yes.
And I think if he's not good this year, it's going to be a long year because that line is going to be Zach Sealer, who might not be in a great mood, and nobody else. So, yes, I think Grant is I think he's more important than Savanaya, or however you pronounce it, on the offensive line there. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Over under 4 touchdowns.
Over. He got 9 touchdowns in 8 games last season. I think he's going to be the goal line go-to guy.
All right. So here's the deal. Like we said, you might not be with us when we do a roundtable show season prediction. I'm going to give you an option. You can tell us your season prediction now, or even though you might not be able to join the podcast that week, we also put it up in written form with the chart. Tom makes it, and Tom, he's got a lot of making up to do, so he's going to make it again this year. We put together the chart, the games, win-loss. I'll let you save it till then if you want to do it in written form for each week, or you can tell us now just your overall season prediction. That one's up to you.
I'm going to say, as of today, 11-6, and I will tell you that for anybody who's been following these annual season predictions, this is actually a little worse than what I have done in the
usually
past.
12-5, aren't you?
That's every season. Every season,
yeah.
Like clockwork, it's 12-5. So I'm saying the Dolphins are going to be a little worse, but I still think the Dolphins are going to be pretty good. I'm going against the grain here because national media pundits, everybody, anybody you talk to that watches or pays attention to the Dolphins are not expecting anything. And I like it better that way because then I don't think the pressure is on them and you go out and you just play your game. And really, this is the year that Mike McDaniel has to show up. I think if he doesn't get us to the playoffs, I think there's definitely going to be some trouble in paradise. And, if he goes too, I think Chris Greer is going to be gone as well.
As will the quarterback.
Yeah,
because
I think it's a package deal. And you said that when he was brought in. Yeah.
He's already got one coach fired, the quarterback. He ain't gonna, and if he gets a second one fired, it's not his part of it's his fault, obviously, because he's not performing to a level where they're, have enough wins to stay. He ain't gonna get a third quarterback. He's not gonna get a third head coach's quarterback. 2 is about your limit when you're making that much money and you're such a high pick. If this season goes terribly wrong, it's not a favorable schedule. It's really not. That's a myth. If this season goes terribly wrong, it's a house cleaning that includes a quarterback, and it really is. You're starting over then, which not the worst thing in the world because it probably needs to happen. But when you get a new GM, new head coach, I just worry we're going to put Chris Greer in the senior advisor role, and he's going to be the puppet master where he's not a GM technically, but he's still pulling the strings. And that means we're in football hell.
But didn't we do that with Mike Tannenbaum as well? We put him in a senior executive role, but he didn't have any oversight on the team. It was just more about.
Well, everyone says he controlled. Everyone said he controlled Chris Greer, and that's why you can't count the first couple of years of Chris Greer. Really wasn't him making those picks. It was really Tannenbaum telling him what to do. Just like that's why, as I always say, sometimes you got to open the window, let the stink out, and you just got to clean house. And they've never done it with Ross. It's always, I'll keep the head coach, I'll fire the GM. I'll keep the GM, I'll fire. No, at some point, everyone's got to go. Look, it's been 25 years. Whatever we're doing clearly isn't working. So sometimes you just need a new vision, top down. It means new GM, new head coach, new quarterback, new vision, new approach. Will that work? Don't know, but I know this ain't. If the season goes bad, I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying if it does, you gotta try you have to have a new vision at some point, because whatever Chris Greer is doing clearly isn't producing results. All right. I can't have you on, Ian, and not play a Florida man game.
Oh, I love it. Yes, thank you.
So
let's go.
To end the show here, we're going to play a Florida man game. I got two stories. And I got to say, once again, I don't know when you're going to be back on with me. I know you got a lot going on these days. Out of all the Florida man games we played, and it's been many years now, this one's right up there. I'm not going to say it's the best. That might be hyperbole. But I'm going to say this is going to be a top 3 Florida man game.
All right.
All right.
Now you've really built it up, my friend.
Well, I built this up. Here's the deal for those of you who might be new to the show and for the uninitiated. I give you two. Look, we're all fans of the Dolphins. He lives in Florida, Ian. We know, though, Florida's got some wild things happening down there, some wild news stories. And it's like cuckoo sometimes. We have fun with it because those are called Florida man stories. But I'm going to read you 2 stories. One did actually happen in Florida and one did not. No Googling. We play for pride, not prize. Ian's going to guess. You can play in the chat as well. Don't Google and spoil it. We're having fun here. And I'm going to read 2 stories, and we're going to then guess which one. Well, I'm not, but then you're going to guess which one happened in Florida and which one happened somewhere else.
Okay.
Story number 1. A woman has been arrested for slicing a random man's face open with a Pringles can. Shanika Shirdal, 28, is accused of wielding the chip container at the unsuspecting victim at a 7-Eleven gas station. The female called the guy a bitch and whacked him with the Pringles. The cashier told responding deputies of the snacks saga. The victim was left with a wound over his eye. He had a significant cut on his right eyebrow and underneath the eye, causing him to bleed. The cut looked significant and appeared that it would leave a scar and permanent disfigurement.
Oh my goodness.
The assault appeared to be unprovoked. All the guy was doing was informing me that another male person was laying down outside of the building. That's when she came in and smacked this guy with a Pringles can. Then she fled the scene, but the cops found her nearby the 7-Eleven. She was slapped with an aggravated battery charge. Wow. Story number 1. Hold on, wait till you read this one. Story number 2. An OnlyFans model who filmed herself urinating on at a grocery store was busted for a hotel room pee spree.
Oh, I know this one. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. Watching it's like, it's my cousin. No, including peeing on the Bible. Here's how the first. God bless these newspapers. I know they're going out of business. This is great. What a pisser. OnlyFans model who allegedly filmed herself urinating on grocery store food has been busted over a pee spree in a hotel room, including the Bible, cops said. Kelly Tedford was hit with fresh charges this week for allegedly urinating all over the room at a Marriott hotel back in January. Tedford, who goes by the name on OnlyFans as Kinky Kelly, is accused of recording herself peeing on an air conditioner unit, the comforter, the curtains, and the Bible inside the room. She also allegedly defecated on the floor before hiding the feces in the tank of the pool. The alleged perp was hit with 5 criminal mischief charges over the sickening ordeal. The gross saga allegedly unfolded just weeks after she did the same thing at a food co-op by peeing on numerous items. She caused over $1,500 worth of ruined products and cleaning expenses at the grocery store. And at this time, they think she's done other things at some other places around the community that just have not been reported. So, Ian, story number 1, slapped with a Pringles can, Florida, or somewhere else. And story number 2, Florida or somewhere else. And I'll tell you the somewhere else when we're done, only because it's like the least suspecting place for this story. I don't want to tell you up front. So 1 or 2, which one's Florida?
Cap is sure that the second one is Florida. I'm curious to know what everybody else thinks too. McD says that sounds like Baltimore stuff. It's very possible. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say the first one is Florida, and I'm going to say it was Jacksonville, Florida. I don't know why, but I just get that. I think Jacksonville, and I'm probably going to be way the heck off, but we're playing the game. So I think first one is Florida in Jacksonville. Second one was in like Idaho or something, if it's like a weird place.
Okay, so the first one was Florida, you're right, but it's Orlando, Florida. Okay. Home of Disney with the Pringles can. Now, the second one with the Peace Spree. Look, we've been playing this game for a while, and I know usually when we have a team we're playing, if we're playing the Chiefs, I'll find a story from Missouri. If we're playing the Rams, I'll find a story from LA. If we're playing whoever, I find a story from that city. This is obviously one that doesn't have a team, but it's, the Peace Spree. First off, I didn't think they had OnlyFans model in this area. Clearly, I'm wrong. The OnlyFans model on the Peace Spree, New Hampshire.
What?
Exactly. That's what I said. What?
It's New so relaxing up in what makes you all of a sudden decide you're going to go in a Peace Spree.
And if I said you have 50 states to pick from that story, New Hampshire is probably one of the final 3 you're picking.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah, bottom 3, bottom 5, no question.
Yeah,
I would have thought LA. LA.
Vegas, have a drunken wild night. I'm thinking any state in the. I'm thinking, sorry, Marissa, Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama. Buying it. That could happen down there.
That's awesome.
New Hampshire, I wasn't. No way, no how is that happening down there? But it did. It did. That's crazy. Okay, that's a. Well, that is top 3 2 stories right there.
No question.
That's a great one.
So I know you're going to close it out real quick, but I'm going to say one last thing. Tom, if you're listening,
Tom, you are so screwed.
You see this name right here? You see this name right here?
It's going to haunt you.
It ain't going nowhere. I may be absent for weeks. I may be absent for months. I don't know what this is going to look like, but this is saving. When you put tweets out and say, thanks to all of our Dolphins Talk podcasters, don't forget this little guy right here. All right, I'm good now. Tom, in all honesty, I love him. He's all good.
No, Tom's actually great because I know with everything you have happening, the odds of you being here every Wednesday are probably slim, which obviously we know. And I've already reached out to Tom, and he's going to jump in your slot here and help out when you're not available. So kudos to Tom. We don't want to give him too much of a hard time because I'm going to need him on Wednesday nights. But he's going to be jumping in and helping out. And Ian, anytime you want, just like today, say, I'm ready to hop on. You're in. I don't even care if it's a Wednesday. You just say, I'm ready to hop on. You're in.
I might be in the way that it's looking is I might end up a couple of months relocating to Philly in a hotel room while doing whatever we're going to be doing. So that's the case. I'm going to bring my AirPods, and if I'm feeling up to it, I'm just going to say, Mike, let's talk about it. I got myself a Fire Stick for the TV so I can watch Dolphins games, and I'm bringing my luggage is going to have nothing but Miami Dolphins stuff. So it doesn't matter where I am. I'm going to be representing our team. So if we do one of the Florida man things, it's going to have to be relocated and do some Philly man things.
We'll do some Philly man.
Philadelphia. I'm sure there's some crazy stuff happening there.
I'm sure they got stories in Philly, and probably most include the fans at the games.
Oh yeah.
Probably most include. And here's the deal too: if you do pop on a show up there, I want you to get a cheesesteak from someplace, and on the air we'll do a 1-bite review, just like the guy does with a pizza review at Barstool. We'll do a 1-bite review. Ian, I got this
1 bite. Everybody knows the rules.
Everyone knows the rules. And you take 5 bites and give us a score, 1 through 10. No, yes. So
My problem is I'm going to give everybody a 10 because I'm so damn nice.
Oh, you can't do that. You got to be honest with that. But okay, if you want to give him a 10, give him a 10. But yeah, so that's what's going on with Big E here. So he'll be on, when he can. Obviously, we're all rooting for him, hoping for the best. And be nice if the Miami Dolphins could win this year a little bit too. I know that would probably lift your spirits some as well on Sundays.
Here's my goal, Mike. My goal is to get through whatever the cancer stuff is, get my transplant, and be ready for a Miami Dolphins Super Bowl in February. That's my goal. That is my goal right there.
Yeah. That would be nice. Once. As I always say, I don't even care if they win it. I just want the day. I've told you this before. I just want to wake up on that Sunday where it's the whole pregame shows us. Everything's us. I watch the game, and it's us. And if we lose, it sucks, obviously, because you want to win. But we had the day. I haven't had that since I was 7 years old. And if I would have known that would be the last time I would experience that, at 7, I would have tried to enjoy it more. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. My dad sends his regards, by the way. He just texted.
Your dad's the best. I love Mr. Berger. I'll be down there in October. If I can't see you, I want to see your dad.
That's a deal. It is a deal.
Put him out.
You got it.
I know. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Follow Ian on social media at Ian693. Follow myself at Dolphins Talk. Check out our website. Subscribe to the podcast. Marissa, new interview today with Ari Mirev. Yeah, him. And we got more interviews coming the rest of the week. We got interviews coming next week. We got a couple interviews, which I'm going to do with her together with a special guest. Don't want to spoil those. So be ready for those interviews. And I know Josh and Aaron are doing a show tomorrow night as well, live, as they're getting into look, football's here, folks. We're going to ease into our regular schedule here. Heading into the games, preseason games. It's going to be fun. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the kind words, for all the shows we've had in the offseason. But it's football time. And thank you, Ian, for joining us tonight. Everyone, have a great evening. We'll talk to you again after a while. And as always, don't forget, we still, in 2025, must put an end to highway profanity.
Fins up, everybody. Let's go, Dolphins.